Um, is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything. A warehouse? I don't know. Maybe. I don't really care what Frit does.
She looks up from under her brow.
Fine. Frit doesn't have a warehouse. Just a little back room here. Okay?
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents. Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money appears with a satisfying jingle. You're a richer man now.
Right to work! Hold up and stay frosty, everyone. Cops are here.
You here to fuck with us? Beat the honest worker down.
We're here to fight for a cause. Stripes usually have problems with people who have causes. Good. We're fighting for a cause here. Right to work! Right to work! Besides, we're not that different. It helps if people see us talking, cops and strikebreakers together. Shows authorities are on our side. Builds confidence. Might be time. Don't let the fat bastards tread on you. Cops tend to side with the higher-ups, but you're essentially still workers. I don't trust cops, but I can see you understand the right to work! Right to work! Rights of people, rights of workers, to have gainful employment, to make a salary, and feed their families. Maybe you should ask them the questions, like why we're not allowed to make a living here. Shame on you! We have families to feed, you piece of shit.
So do we, Scab.
Have fun. Union shits are on full strike. Don't think they're going to let you through the gates. I'm trying to meet their fat boss.
I know nothing about a murder.
The mention of a killing sends a barely noticeable shiver of tenseness through him. Interesting.
What are you talking about? I'm not tense.
Yes, he's tense.
Right to work! It's shameful, cops doing nothing. You should bring backup, open up the gates for us. Blockading gainful employment for workers is a crime.
We are not picking a side in this just yet, sir.
Pity. Let us work! When a bunch of ungrateful, lazy cockroaches can't get their act together, decide to block honest work for other people.
Beats me. They mumble nonsense about boardrooms and workers' rights, while we
Have the right to work!
There's something odd in the way he carries himself. His set of clothing looks vaguely mismatched. The different pieces of the attire seem ill-fitting. His shirt is far too small and an unpleasantly tight fit, while the overalls, held up by a belt, seem to fit a man with much more corpulence. He ignores your question, choosing instead to turn to the emaciated workers, raising both fists in the air. The clothes are obviously not his. Silence is the answer. There's something off here, but he won't say what. You've been talking to him for quite a while now. Something is off with this guy. Ask him where he's from.
What's it to you? Am I a suspect? Done no crimes. I only fight for the rights of people. We're all workers, right? Workers stick together. Came from the eminent domain, in Jamrock. Backgrounds in odd jobs, heavy lifting, cargo hauling, bouncer work. I know the drill. Worked at Territorial. Ring a bell? We're done here. I have a strike to break.
Scab? A kind of a worm, content with mere survival. They come, they want to do our job for shittier pay, screwing over both themselves and us. Everybody loses. Beats me. Somewhere in the ground, I think. Gotta be bloody stupid or freaking evil to Scab. Or I guess, scared maybe. But scared of what? Of who? Personally, I'd rather beg than Scab. If the gentleman shouting on the street came begging, maybe they'd have gotten something. We've explained the matters, but they don't listen. This lot would be reasonable and go home if the big guy wasn't riling them up all the time. I was just messing with you. No one's ever seen a cop Scab. Imagine, you cops going on a strike, but then another cop comes in and says, "Let us cop for less money." Speaking of, what brings the RCM here, to the Wild North? Come to see the strife? Murder, huh? That sounds like a lot of hard work. You'd never see me investigating a murder. That's okay. I have no idea what I'm doing either. I don't even know what day it is. Don't tell me. It's a better day that way. My friend, I respect the right to roam. The open range awaits. I don't operate in that capacity. I'm not a granter of passage. The passage grants itself.
Beneath the jolliness, he suddenly seems doubtful.
Aye. Walk right past Measurehead and go in. Yeah, the 2.5 meter tall Semini Supremus is there. Walk right past him. Then press the button to unlock the door. Then go past him again. And you enter the arbor through the office. Está. Don't worry, I'm sure it's not completely impossible. For example, you could best measure head in a physical confrontation. Or you could convert to a Semini supremacist worldview. Or, maybe it actually is completely impossible. Jean-Luc himself would say the philosophy has proven overly heroic for the scabs to convert to. Not enough intuition. Not yet, no. He's incredibly strong. Sure. You know, serious business. I'm sure the big boss will be glad to tell you. You'll have to ask him first.
He's a chatty guy. Wants to talk about the strike. Return once you've met the union boss and are on a better footing with the organization.
Sure thing, my friend. I can help you out.
The coin narrowly slips by your outstretched fingers and falls to the ground.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to throw it like that. It's a thing we harbor folk do, passing around cargo and such. Was not meant as provocation or ridicule.
The boyadero stares at you with respect, then gestures towards the trickles of blood adorning your clothes.
Right, always glad to help out the RCM. We're on the same branch, you and I. Humans, I mean, not slithering scabs.
Body betrays your degeneracy.
Yeah, Measurehead. His body totally betrays his degeneracy.
Don't say anything. Size him up first.
Are you admiring my morphophysiology? It must be frightening to stand in the shadow of this racial pinnacle. Be calm, Am Sandwich. You are not in danger, because you are not a threat to me. You have succumbed to Al-Ghul. You reek of it. An invisible sword of Al-Ghul emerges from your throat. You cannot see it, but others can. It is making the woman in my company sick. Yes, Al-Ghul. Al-Ghul is an ancient Ilmaran poison. A parasitic fungus that has colonized your race. It is a trick the desert pygmies played on you for humiliating them and stripping them of their land.
Intentionally fermented drinks have existed for 10,000 years.
This is a fabrication the alchemists of Yizot and Bashir and the Rolam Al-Ghul have fed you people. Go on believing in it, race loser. Why don't you have another drink? Your features are not yet congenitally deformed enough.
Oh yeah, Measurehead.
It's not good.
It's like a rat crawled into your stomach, got drunk and drowned.
No, you don't. You need to get another drink. Occidental Haplogroup B4 is done giving orders around here. The influence of the ham sandwich race is waning.
Show him the ham still got it.
Begging for help, attempting to pass fear for cooperation. How far the Occidental Haplogroup has fallen. You were once a noble and powerful race. You gave the world eugenics, electricity, and powerful weapons of war like missiles and aerostatic aircraft. You made great gains in metallurgy, race theory, and statecraft. You dominated lesser cultures, like the deformed Hemians and the inexplicably potato-obsessed Quakers. But now your ascent to the genetic summit has halted. You are obsessed with sadness and with frivolous pop culture. You will be superseded. Isn't that right, babe?
It is, baby, yeah. You know it.
There is a button right behind him, just out of reach. It must be the one that opens the door to the harbor.
It is my task to keep the degenerate drunks from entering the harbor.
Shame on you! Things are busy enough. You're going to waste less of my time?
The hulking man oozes stark skepticism.
We were promised work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards hadn't shut the gates. Main gate's locked. Would take heavy ordnance to bust it open. Could try to get in through the secretary's office. Door's locked. The guard's blocking the way to the access panel. And I don't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean head measurer. Or whatever he is. Huge Seminese guy standing up there on the overhead passage. Won't let anyone by. The access panel is right behind him. Bad. Standing on a narrow bridge, he's got a strategically advantageous position. And he's trained. I don't know how the Union has a trained killer up there. But that one's no joke, and my men are tired and hungry. They're workers, not fighters. Like civilized folk, you mean? These native fucks don't understand civilized.
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home, at least for now, if you can't get in anyway.
No! They will give up eventually. Or get drunk. Leave the button unguarded. Then, we charge. Honest men and women, with rights, to work, to be useful, not toys for corporate interests. We came here to help the harbor run smoothly in time of crisis. If Union fucks don't want work, they ought to let in those who do want work.
I have a question. Why do all these men follow your leadership?
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No. They follow the rules of the market. the rules of the economy because they were given a job to do!
A lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy Grad-made machine is well kept for such an old machine. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about honor, strength, and purity are glued to various panels. A large metal pendant hangs from the rear view mirror. The pendant features a sun crowned with wavy rays. The back end of the cabin is a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several suns and wheels sewn into the curtains.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is. Drapes it all over his machine.
Now it's turning into a kind of a snow limbo, man. What's on your mind?
We are still waiting for a replacement for the bull you sent sinking. What is this? Are you mocking us? This isn't for Betonk.
Now, no need to get angry again, René. I'm sure the officer tried his best. It's not like there's a bull kiosk here in Martinez.
The best, huh? This isn't even a bull. But fine. I guess you did attempt to right your hooliganism. Consider it forgiven. It's a Bell McGrave. 4.46 caliber. Breech loading. Revachol made. Good weapon. Accurate and reliable. This one's inoperable. The bolt spring is missing and the mechanism is jammed shut. Still a beauty. Where did you find her? I'm not surprised. There are probably lots of forgotten wartime weapons lying around here. Back in the day, everyone had something stashed away. As for the rifle, I don't know what else to tell you. These BM-446s are an antique. No one uses them anymore. The ammunition is impossible to find.
Still, all you see is an old soldier refusing to replace his uniform with a civilian attire.
Anything else I can assist you with, officer?
The sight of bullet holes stirs something in you, making you forget the lieutenant's surname.
Where? There? Those are old. These bullets were fired during the Revolution, over half a century ago. They do not warrant investigation. Not much. I don't have a fresh perspective on it. Shall we go? Yes? What do you want to know? Maybe you can tell me what you do know, to help me narrow it down a bit. Do you want me to brief you? 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. I was told we should approach the death as part of this dispute. A security guard or worker of some sort hired by Wild Pines. This was just hearsay from Martinez, of course. We need to find out the truth. They didn't identify themselves in any way. The tone was muffled using a device of some sort. The desk could identify neither the caller's age nor sex. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers' union is the de facto police in Martinez. Now it appears they've started executing too. We cannot allow that. That's right. No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. I can assure nothing like that will happen. Do you know why not? No, something isn't happening, because it's not part of reality.
The gesture resembles an orchestra conductor bringing the choir to a full stop. So desperately mundane. You need to funk this case up. There's something the lieutenant isn't seeing. The universe is too irrational, too morally complex. You should convince him.
I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a pissing competition.
His disdain is clear. This man would not use such an expression otherwise.
You don't know? I assumed you were in on it. Better still than an imbecilic cop-off. It's just stupidity. We shouldn't waste any more time on it. If you want my take, ask me after we've inspected the victim. Later. Was there anything else you wanted to know about the case? Good.
No response. He just arches his brow.
Have you tried concentrating on something other than your personal affairs?
There is a sudden, harsh edge to his voice, like he's tired of hearing about your personal affairs.
Really? You look fine to me. This psychodrama is unbecoming of an officer. Focus on other people's troubles, not your own. That is a relief.
A moment passes. The lieutenant glances at the sports watch on his wrist.
Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. That's a fair point. All right, for the good of the investigation, what do you want to know? That's correct.
You feel a slight urge to put the lieutenant down for this, but you can't quite muster enough testosterone.
I guess you don't need glasses, then. That's because I'm half Seolite, or quarter. My father's father was from Seoul, so was my grandmother, but from my mother's side. It's not an interesting topic. It's a part of the world, officer. A geopolitical entity and a geographic division. I told you it wouldn't be interesting.
Seoul is a protectionist, isolationist, pan-Isolari state west of the Insulindian Isola. Actually, it's quite interesting. Some would even say mysterious.
You're barking up the wrong tree. I don't speak a word of Seolite. I've never met either one of my grandparents, and I've never been to Seoul. I'm a regular Revacholière.
He's glad to have shut down your question.
No.
Your brain sends the signal to your lips, but they refuse the order. Something is paralyzing them. You're pretty sure it has something to do with the lieutenant's eyebrow. The eyebrow is exercising psionic control over you. It's like you're locked down.
Something the matter, detective?
This guy's got authority off the charts. With just the flick of his eyebrow, he's able to make you his thrall. Nothing. You better hope he doesn't abuse his authority. There's a lot of it. If the lieutenant were an evil man, who knows what sort of havoc he could wreak. Fortunately, he is a committed officer of the RCM. He'll only use his powers for the good of the investigation. The lieutenant relaxes his eyebrow, and you seem to regain control of yourself.
What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The lieutenant's conceptualization skills must be rather rudimentary. The lieutenant is a police officer of the old school. His concerns are material and extrinsic. But this isn't an old school case.
So what? That makes you the new school? God spare us. For real detective work, nothing beats a good notebook by your side.
The lieutenant produces his small blue notebook and idly thumbs through a few pages. That's where his conversations with himself take place. We all have our different mediums. His is written.
Good. Let's change the subject. Excuse me? You have a distinctive way of walking. If I were to walk in front of you, we would surely collide. I hope you don't take this the wrong way. It's just a collegial observation. In the 57th, we call it the Jamrock Shuffle. Officers from Jamrock's 41st Precinct tend to move a bit erratically. They say it's a scene-clearing technique developed by one of your lieutenants for gathering evidence. It's erratic, yet thorough. Prioritizes containers.
Yes, but containers contain things, shiny things. They're interesting.
I don't know. Containers contain, I guess. I'm making assumptions. We should move on.
Passing along frivolous interdepartmental stereotypes is not usually his oeuvre. He regrets bringing it up. Only banal things strike you. At the core, you're a very banal person with a very small soul. One you should be ashamed of. It's no wonder the soft one doesn't want it back. It was right to abandon you.